I came home for Thanksgiving carrying bags full of groceries, gifts, and hope. The driveway was empty. No cars, no lights, no warmth in the windows. I stood there longer than I should have, keys clenched in my hand, telling myself not to panic. Maybe they were late. Maybe traffic was bad. Maybe I was overthinking. The moment I stepped inside, my chest sank. The house was cold, silent, stripped of life. No music, no laughter, no smell of food waiting to be shared. Just one sound, the slow creak of a rocking chair. Victor sat in the corner of the living room. Everyone said he was fading, barely aware. But his eyes lifted toward me, sharp, watching, far too present. That alone made my stomach tighten. On the kitchen counter I saw it. A folded piece of paper. My name, written quickly, carelessly. I opened it. Gone on a Caribbean cruise with Hannah. Mum decided to come too since she needed a break. You'll stay home and take care of Victor. He needs you back Monday. Brady, the words hit slowly, painfully. A cruise. With Hannah, the woman he told me not to worry about. 4 days. They left without a call, without a warning, without even a conversation. On Thanksgiving. My hands went cold. Behind me, Victor spoke calmly. So they finally stopped pretending. I turned toward him. They're not coming back until Monday, he added. No, I whispered. They're on a cruise. He nodded, unsurprised. Left you with the responsibility, he muttered. That's how they work. My phone vibrated. For one fragile second, I hoped it was Brady. It wasn't. It was Instagram. A tagged photo. My hands shook as I opened it. There he was, smiling on a cruise deck, arm wrapped around Hannah, champagne glasses raised. His mother beside them, relaxed, glowing. The caption read, New Beginnings. Caribbean getaway with family. Family. I scrolled through photo after photo. Sunset dinners. Laughing faces. The timestamps made it clear. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned. Victor watched my expression shift. They've been taking from you for years, he said quietly. Money, effort, dignity. I checked our bank account. $5,200 gone. Almost everything we had saved. Something inside me cracked, then hardened. This wasn't just betrayal. It was abandonment. Deliberate and cold. Victor leaned forward slightly. They think they left you trapped, he said. But they made a mistake. I swallowed. What mistake? They underestimated what happens when someone finally sees the truth. Standing there, in that silent house, on a day meant for family, I understood one thing clearly. They thought this was the end for me. They were wrong. The silence between us felt heavier than the cold air in the house. I sank into a kitchen chair, my legs suddenly weak. Everything I had imagined for this day, the laughter, the food, the sense of belonging, collapsed into that one cruel note. I don't understand, I said quietly. We planned this for months. Thanksgiving was supposed to be here. Together. Victor moved slowly toward the refrigerator, every step deliberate. He poured himself a glass of water, his hand trembling just enough to show the truth Brady liked to hide. They left Tuesday morning, he said. Didn't bother stocking the fridge. Didn't bother turning the heat up. I looked around properly for the first time. Dirty dishes stacked in the sink. Empty takeout containers on the counter. Cabinets half bare. This wasn't sudden. This was preparation. My phone buzzed again. Another photo. Brady and Hannah at a candlelit dinner. Her hand resting comfortably on his arm. The smile on his face wasn't new. It was practiced. Familiar. Like he'd been waiting to show it. Victor watched me carefully. She's been calling here for months, he said. Asking for him. Pretty voice. Sharp laugh. I stared at him. You knew? I noticed more than they think, he replied calmly. People speak freely around someone they believe is already gone. My chest tightened. I opened our banking app again, hoping I'd misread it. I hadn't. Our savings nearly gone. The money meant for a home, for a future Brady promised we'd build together. Spent without hesitation. They do the same to me, Victor continued. Small withdrawals. Excuses. Always for care I never receive. I felt sick. This wasn't about an affair anymore. This was a pattern. Quiet. Calculated and cruel. My phone rang. Leah, my best friend. I couldn't answer. Not yet. Victor broke the silence. There's leftover soup if you're hungry. Something inside me snapped. No, I said firmly, standing up. We're not doing that. He looked surprised. I'm going to the store, I continued. We're having a real meal. You deserve that. His lips curved into a small, genuine smile. Haven't had a home-cooked meal in months. At the grocery store, the world moved normally around me. Families laughed. Carts clattered. People complained about long lines. And I stood there realizing how alone I had been, how long I had been shrinking myself to fit into a life that never truly included me. When I returned, Victor had cleared the table. In front of him was a folder, thick, organized, heavy with meaning. I've been documenting everything, he said quietly. What is this? I asked. Truth, he replied. And maybe, if you're willing, the beginning of something very different. I didn't know what he meant yet. But I knew one thing. This Thanksgiving wasn't ending the way they planned. I stood frozen, staring at the folder in front of me. Inside were bank statements, medical reports, handwritten notes, dates circled in red. Every page told the same story: neglect dressed up as care, theft disguised as responsibility. They think I don't notice, Victor said quietly. They think because I walk slow, because my hands shake, that my mind is gone. He tapped the folder. It's not. I swallowed hard. Why are you showing me this? Victor leaned back, exhaustion briefly breaking through his composure. Because you're not like them. And because I don't have much time. The room felt suddenly smaller. He slid one page toward me, a medical report. Terminal. Late stage. Weeks, not months. My chest tightened. They knew? I whispered. Oh yes, he replied. Elaine was there when the doctor said it out loud. 2 days later she booked the cruise. The cruelty of it hit me harder than Brady's betrayal ever had. They didn't just leave you, I said. They abandoned you. Victor nodded. And they left you here to clean up the mess. I wanted to scream, to cry, to run. Instead I stayed. Because something was changing. They think you're the burden, he continued. But they made a mistake. He reached across the table and placed an envelope in front of me. My real will, he said. Not the one they believe exists. I didn't touch it. I don't understand. Victor met my eyes, sharp and steady. They've been waiting for me to die. Planning what they'll take. What they'll keep. A pause. I'm not leaving them anything. The words settled slowly, heavily. You want my help, I said. I need your help. He corrected gently. To document the truth. To make sure they can't twist it. And in return, I make sure you're never left powerless again. Outside, the wind rattled the windows. Inside, everything felt dangerously still. This wasn't revenge. This was accountability. I thought of Brady's smile in those photos. The champagne. The ease with which he erased me. I thought of Victor, sitting alone in a cold house, written off before he was even gone. Yes, I said finally, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounded. I'll help you. Victor exhaled, the tension easing from his shoulders. Good, he said softly. Then we begin. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying and empowering. They thought they had abandoned 2 people. What they'd actually done was bring us together. And they had no idea what was coming next. The house changed after that. Not physically, but emotionally. Like the air itself had weight now. Victor grew quieter, weaker, yet somehow more present. Every word mattered. Every glance felt deliberate. The next morning, his attorney arrived. Patricia Winters, silver-haired, sharp-eyed, the kind of woman who didn't waste words or sympathy. She looked at Victor, then at me, and nodded once. "So you're the one who stayed," she said. I didn't correct her. Documents covered the dining table. Signatures, dates, witnesses. Victor's hands trembled as he signed, but his mind never wavered. "They will come back expecting guilt," he said calmly. "We'll give them truth." Between paperwork, I documented everything. Photos of the empty fridge, timestamps of missed medications, messages unanswered. Proof, layered and undeniable. Then came the performance. Medical equipment appeared, oxygen tubing, monitors, pill bottles placed just right. Victor coached me through it. Shadows, lighting, silence. "Let them see decline," he whispered. "Let them feel late." I sent carefully chosen photos. Nothing dramatic, just enough to unsettle. Messages followed, brief, clinical, heavy with implication. "Condition worsening. Hospice concerned. He keeps asking for you." Responses came slowly. Too slowly. By evening, a video call appeared on the screen. Victor lay back, eyes half closed, breathing shallow. "Uncle Victor?" A voice asked, nervous now. He stirred, weak but lucid. "Thought you'd come," he murmured. Silence. Excuses followed, schedules, non-refundable tickets, stress. I watched guilt fight convenience and lose. When the call ended, Victor removed the tubing and looked at me, sadness flickering behind his calm. "They always choose comfort," he said. "Even when it costs someone else their dignity." That night, his condition worsened for real. No acting this time. I sat beside him, adjusting pillows, reading softly, holding his hand when the pain crept in. "You stayed," he said, voice barely above a breath. "No one ever does." Tears blurred my vision. "I'm here," I whispered. "I'm not going anywhere." Outside, the world carried on, unaware. Inside that quiet room, something final was approaching. And the people who should have been there were still sipping cocktails, believing they had all the time in the world. They didn't know it yet, but time had already run out. Morning came quietly, heavy with anticipation. Victor's breathing was shallow, yet his eyes glimmered with focus, as if he had one last mission. I brewed tea, sliced peaches just as he liked them, small acts of care that mattered more than the world outside. Patricia returned, notary in tow, crisp and unyielding. "Time," she said, voice low. Victor nodded, steadying himself on the edge of the bed. I could see the determination beneath the frailty, a man claiming dignity in the only way left to him. We finalized the last documents, trusts, amendments, legal protections, every detail designed to shield his legacy, to punish the neglect without mercy. He dictated letters to be read later, each word precise, exposing betrayal and indifference without a single flourish of anger. The weight of truth hit the room, thick and palpable, and I felt it deep in my chest. Then we staged the final scenes. Oxygen tanks, monitors, pill bottles arranged with exacting care. Shadows and lights sculpted his face, the exhaustion real enough to convince anyone of a rapid decline. I took photos, each one a subtle dagger, a silent message to those who had abandoned him. Calls were made, messages sent. Hesitation, guilt, excuses, deflection, they were predictable, but satisfying in their subtle torment. The reactions, though small, rippled with awareness, the realization that they had failed someone who deserved everything. As night fell, Victor rested in his favorite chair, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "You stayed," he whispered, "more than anyone ever did." His hand, fragile yet firm, found mine. I realized then the truth. This was never just about revenge. It was about justice, dignity, and the quiet power of presence. Their absence had given us clarity, a focus that could not be shaken. The house was silent, expectant, carrying the weight of what was to come. Outside, life went on, oblivious. Inside, a bond forged by shared betrayal, by unacknowledged love and careful attention, had created something invincible. When they returned, they would confront reality, undeniable and precise. The truth, finally, would not be denied. And for Victor, for all the years of being overlooked, ignored and abandoned, there would be peace. And I would be there, witness and guardian, holding the final pieces of a story they thought they controlled, knowing that justice had its quiet, unyielding victory.